Hi everyone, this is our first ever dev battle report. How this will work is two developers will play and record a game of Fire and Maneuver, and then review the footage afterward to explain how the battle developed, why certain strategic actions were taken, and how certain mechanics function. Please keep in mind we're currently in pre-alpha, so just about everything you see is a placeholder. Animations have not been added yet, so you'll notice some snapping when units travel 2 tiles, and instead of units fleeing or falling dead on the ground when shot, a feature we plan on adding later, they simply disappear. It may look a little confusing at times, but that's why I also made a top-down map that I'll be switching to throughout the battle. In this matchup, 9 battalions of the German 5 Corps and Bavarian 2 Corps, who total 9,000 men, approach the river Wissembourg on the way to Wissembourg, France. Blocking their advance is only 7 battalions of the French 5 Corps, who total 4,500 men. The French force is an unconventional one for the Franco-Prussian War, with 5 of their battalions being armed with antiquated Manet rifles. They have decent range but a slow rate of fire. The 2 French Guard battalions in reserve, however, are armed with the advanced Chassepot rifle, with excellent range and excellent rate of fire. The German force they face is armed entirely with needle guns, with poor range but an excellent rate of fire. Alright, so we're going to start the replay here. I'll try not to pause it too much to interrupt because it is a 14-minute battle, so I don't want it to go on too long, but I will pause if I feel like some things need explanation. There's a couple new things that you guys haven't seen yet. We've got our new perk system on full display here, and there are some pretty big differences between French and German forces, so I will try to explain that. Otherwise, when the action starts, we'll try to keep moving along. So starting off here, we can see I've got my German line infantry towards the center and left. I'm going against developer Seb. I'm going to pause it here and just show you that the German line infantry get breech loaders because they are armed with needle guns, so they can fire 2 times in a turn. I'm able to do 2 attack orders on a single turn with a single unit. Normally units can't do that if they've just got regular smoothbore muskets, but this is an advantage of playing in the 1870s or late 1860s when you have breech loaders. So you can see those attack orders are the buttons in orange on the bottom left. Likewise, all of the Prussian line infantry get efficiency. That allows you to do multiple maneuver orders, which are the buttons in the bottom right. So with the Prussians, you really don't have to worry about being limited by your actions. You could fire twice or move twice. This doesn't give you extra movement speed, so I don't get to travel multiple tiles if I only am able to go 1 tile at a time, but it does mean I could change formation and move all on the same turn with the same unit, and then end up shooting somebody twice because I have breech loaders. So that is something unique that the Prussians have that typically is reserved for guard units in this game. And so what you'll notice is the Prussian line infantry is able to quickly move up using maybe a column formation, a columnar formation to get into position, and switch straight into line formation without missing a beat because they've got that kind of independence and fluidity that other line infantry is not going to have. So now we're going to move over, I'm going to unpause here, we're going to move over and show off the Bavarian division I've got on my right flank here, so we'll pause here, and the perk that they've got, they do not have efficiency, they aren't Prussian, they're Bavarian troops, joining the German army here, the North German Confederation. What they've got instead is shock. So these guys are going to be better at melee engagements, getting really close, and fighting one-on-one with enemy units. So we'll unpause here. So that is what the Bavarians are going to be doing. Now let's go take a look at the French. I'll pause one more time. We can see here that they've got the rifling perk, so they can fire 2 tiles away. That's a big advantage. We cannot engage from that kind of range. I'll unpause again. And then we can see in the very back, they have these guard units. And so they have got efficiency. They have got disciplined range, which allows them to do +1 damage on any shot. They've got rifling and breech loaders. So when they shoot, they're going to be deadly. And they can easily reposition. So these guys are like the best units you can possibly get. And they're going to be holding the French reserve. So it looks like my opponent's already ended his turn. He's just defending. So it's up to me to take this river and push on. I'm first going to select our guard units. We're probably just going to move them up 1 tile. They are in attack column. I could move them up further, but I don't want to overextend. All right, we're going to move the other units as well. And notice I'm selecting 2 units at a time. I can move 2 units at a time if they're on the same tile with only 1 order. So it's actually more efficient at the start of the game to consolidate your forces. I'm going to unpause here. And what we're going to do is we're going to put pressure on the enemy right with our Bavarians. I'm going to consolidate them onto 1 tile. Of course, I can't change them into any kind of attack column yet because they don't have the efficiency perk. So we're going to end our turn here and watch it all happen. Of course, the enemy's not really doing much. He's just holding his position. My guards, they're going to take kind of the crossroad area, and then the line infantry is moving up now. Terrain doesn't really work right now in the game. We're updating our map system. Right now, terrain is just kind of there to look pretty. We can cross shallow river, but we can't cross deep parts of the river. That's all terrain is. The trees don't really do anything, and the roads don't do anything just yet. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to take the units on the left, move them into attack column. But then I realize, you know what? Attack column is good if we want to engage right away. If we put them in march column, it should allow us to get even more extended movement, and we really want to try to flank these French soldiers because they've got kind of a choke point at the center of the map. So I'm going to put attack column to my Bavarians on the right because they're going to engage right away, but then we're going to use march column on the left. You can see here the troops getting into march column. We're going to use that so we can really fly down that left flank and get them to take some pressure off the center. So we're able to make an attack on the center. You can see the Bavarians now getting into attack column. Now that we're in march column, our job is going to be to flank left and distract them. On the right, we're going to push right up to the French and engage right away. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm moving up these two units. They can move 2 tiles at a time because they are in attack column. They will have limited damage capabilities when firing, but they do get +1 on charges. +1 damage on a charge. So attack column is good for melee attacks. We can see that they have rifles. They're going to be guarding the river here. So I don't want to move up too far. I'm kind of going to spread out, but I don't want to get into range just yet because I can't engage them at 2 tiles away. I can move diagonal with my march column. That is a big advantage. So you can see here I'm making good use of the formations. Attack column, because I'm going to engage soon. March column, so I can get that diagonal movement and really jump to that side of the river. And then line formation when I'm ready to engage in the center. And of course my guards are held in reserve. I'm going to pause here to explain something really quick. You typically do want to put some units, unlike Total War or just a lot of RTS games in general, you actually want reserves in this game because you have a limited amount of orders. If I've got 12 units, but only 6 orders, I don't want my entire army engaged because some of my guys are going to be left vulnerable. But if I'm engaging with small parts of my force at a time, I'm easily able to give them all of the orders they need, and I can keep a reserve. So much like, I don't know, something that comes to mind is the Battle of Waterloo, where the French keep their old guard in reserve until the very end of the battle. That kind of stuff is never simulated at all in any kind of RTS game because there's no command efficiency system where actual generals are giving actual orders. But in our game, it is actually wise to keep units in reserve, and once you have enough orders, you can commit those reserves to battle. So the battles work out dynamic in that way, and that's something I really like about the system. All right, I'll unpause here and we'll watch the orders unfold. So you can see here they are crossing diagonal. The French are going to start noticing this maneuver, and they're going to start responding soon. But for now, they're still holding the bridge. And then we can move over here and see we're going to end up crossing right away. And what I'm going to do is really make full use of that efficiency. As soon as I cross, we're jumping straight into line formation. So we're going to be ready to engage immediately. They'll have no time to respond. And of course, our Bavarians are going to push up right onto the bridge, and we're going to just charge straight ahead. Now, that will give us a disadvantage. When you frontally charge, you are given the disadvantage. You take a lot more damage, but I've got shock, which is +1 damage. I've got attack column for +1 damage, and I've got 2 units on the tile. So that should be a pretty good fight for me, getting into melee, even if I'm doing a frontal charge. All right, we're going to end our turn here. We see on the left our march column moving up, getting into line formation. The enemy responds to it. Our Bavarians moving onto the bridge. And now I'm thinking the following turn we're going to see a lot more movement in the French army as they respond to these developments. I'm also thinking now's the time to start pushing up the center, because if I'm thinking ahead, if I'm playing ahead and not just reacting to what I see now, I'm going to assume by the time my guys move up ahead in the center, the enemy's probably going to take pressure off of the center. So I should time that nicely. You do not want to play this game reacting to what you see now. Orders take time to be carried out, so you have to think what your enemy's going to do and try to sync that up with what you're doing. So I'm ordering this charge with 2 units, with the Bavarian line following behind. And I don't have any more orders, so I'm just going to end it here. And we're going to see now, let's see what the French do. We're going to spread out. We're probably going to get shot. Yep. So we took a little damage there. You can see rifles going off. Took 2 points of cohesion damage. I'm going to pause really quick and just explain that blue bar around the flag is called cohesion. It kind of acts like a shield. And once the shield is broken, that's when you take casualties. So you have to shoot a unit a couple times, break their cohesion, and then you're going to start racking up kills. Cohesion will automatically regain when a unit is not bordering an enemy. So a couple rifles firing off in the distance is not going to be a worry for me. But when you stack damage and you have multiple regiments all firing at once, even from far away, you'll crack the cohesion and start doing damage all in one turn, and that can be dangerous. We can see the charge should be going through soon. We got shot once on the way to charge, and now we're going straight in. We can see we took a lot of damage, 4 points, but we issued a lot of damage, 3. So it's actually pretty even. And by the end of the turn, we're already taking casualties on both sides there. Okay, so now we've got to think where we want to put the most pressure. We have one isolated French unit, and we could fire 2 times a turn. So I'm thinking we move up, we grab this attack order, and shoot twice. And that should break his cohesion entirely. We can see those 2 orders going through. Bavarians are held up on the right. We really don't need to do too much. In the center, I'm thinking there's still a lot of units there. We could try moving up and maybe shoot that unit on the side. See how it's kind of turned at an angle? We'll get extra damage doing that. We can only fire once, but we'll do a lot of damage. We should break its cohesion down to 3. I'll pause one more time. The base amount of damage you do in this game is 2 points. Always 2 points. If I shoot you on the side, it's +1, so 3. And if I shoot you in the rear, it's +2, so 4. So if I ever shoot somebody in the back once, all their cohesion's gone. If I shoot someone in the side once, 3/4 is gone. And if I shoot someone in the front once, 2, so 1/2 is gone. So it's very simple math. It might be hard to get used to. It is a lot of little modifiers, but there's no percentages in the game. So once you understand the basic math, +1, +2s, it's very easy to understand. So we can see on the shallow river crossing, I should be doing 3 points of damage and break down most of their cohesion. All right, we'll unpause. So we're going to see these orders unfold momentarily. Looks like the opponent is still calculating his orders, but luckily because we're making our orders at the same time, the wait times in a turn-based game are actually pretty low. There's not a long moment of waiting for your opponent to do his turns. Notice how quickly things are moving. Almost like I'm going against an AI. But this is a real person, just because we're making the orders at the same time. You can see he mobilized his guard unit, and that's going to be real dangerous for me on the left. I'm not looking at that now, but I did shoot the unit on the side there. Melee is still happening. We've taken out about half that French regiment, and we just got opened up on by those Chassepot rifles. We're going to have to fall back. And that little skull next to the cohesion means that we will take attrition every time we move. So if your cohesion turns red, meaning less than half cohesion remaining, you take a loss every time you move. It kind of simulates men running away. You know, if you're trying to give orders, trying to motivate them and get them to move when they're under fire, some guys might be running away. So to try to get into combat and just shoot and run away, you're always going to take losses doing that. When you get yourself into combat, obviously, like, spinning around and getting shot in the back as you run away is not going to be good. So you notice I'm going to drop a unit on the left as I run. I'm going to try to keep engaging this French regiment because I've almost got it killed, but I'm still getting hit really bad over there. And I've almost neutralized the bridge position too, so I'm going to actually fully mobilize the bridge troops. And the Bavarians are still held up by this French regiment. We're taking a lot of losses, but we will kill them at the end of this turn. Melee combat is automatically simulated, so once you get yourself into a melee, you don't have to worry about issuing orders. He doesn't seem to care because he's stalling that entire advance, so he's just keeping his men there and not pulling out of that melee. He's fighting to the death. We're still having trouble on this bridge. We're outnumbered. Even the unit that's not close to us has got 2 range, so we want to move up and just try to put some pressure on them. And try to make full use of our breech-loading rifles that the enemy does not have. I want to fall these guys back to regain cohesion. I'm going to pause one more time. In this case, if I regain cohesion, as long as I'm not bordering an enemy, there's no point in me trying to fight this one-on-one where my cohesion is completely gone and they have full cohesion. In this game, it rewards you for getting into combat, and when your troops start to get exhausted when cohesion's low, it rewards you to pull back, kind of regain your cohesion, remotivate your troops, and then get back into combat. So what you see here, what I'm doing is I'm still going to be in range of the French, but at least I'm refilling that cohesion before jumping back into combat. All right, so now I'm starting to push up the Bavarians. I know that melee combat's going to end soon, and those are all my orders for the turn. We're going to end it here. And we finished off one French regiment, and I think we're going to pull back. Yep, we pull back. Yeah, that left flank, we took such heavy casualties from those guard units, and they're still firing at us. We're pushing up, still taking a lot of casualties in the center. You notice all of our cohesion's completely broken. We need those Bavarians, basically. The center attack is faltering, and the left attack has failed. Now the Bavarians are freed. They're freed up. God, those units on the left are getting chewed up. Because the enemy has discipline range, they can just sit there and do extra damage just because they're guard units, they're better shots. And so even at range, even though I'm refilling my cohesion, they're just doing so much damage and firing multiple times a turn. In this case, I'm going to die here. I'm going to pause. They're doing 2 points of damage, right? I've got 2 units, 2 little stands, companies left in that unit. If I walk away, I die. I might as well just shoot before I go down, because they're going to die anyways. There's no point in trying to run away. I'm already in range. If they shoot one time, I'm dead. So I might as well shoot on the way down. On the right here, the Bavarians are fully mobilized, finally. Just getting out of melee combat. We're bringing in some other Bavarian reserves, too. Still got plenty of orders left. Just trying to figure out what I want to do. Probably going to fall back, because we're just getting pinned down by those French guards. I just can't engage them. And then probably mobilize our guard. I think it's time to pull in the Prussian guard and try to break the center. So we're going to end here and see everything play out. Looks like what the enemy's going to do is they're going to stand their ground and kill me, just like I predicted. Other side of the river, they're going to keep shooting at me. Their guard units are still going to be activated. Actually, looks like his guard units moved to the center. He's activating his other guard. So now we're going to face elite French troops shortly. But we've got some elites of our own that we're going to push up, and some fresh troops. We're going to move back up to the river position. Going to move back across the bridge. One more attack. We got pushed back. We're going to attack again. We've got discipline range now, and we've got breach loaders, so we can tear this unit apart. I also want to get them into line formation, because attack columns, you're not using as many weapons, right? You're only doing 1 point of damage when you're shooting in an attack column. When you're in a line, you're doing 2. So we want to push up with our mobility from attack column. Utilize the efficiency perk by moving into line, and then begin engaging. So you can see that happening now. French guards are, of course, filling up the lines here, but we're making some progress. Just want to try to overwhelm them with numbers at this point. And we need those Bavarians. We need the Bavarians coming in the right. They're slow. We're going to spread out our battle line and try to begin targeting multiple units, and we can actually start shooting the French on the flank there and break the... kind of relieve our force that's stuck in the shallow river crossing, shoot them twice on the side. They've got no cohesion left, so that's 4 points of damage. They've got 6 companies. That'll bring them down to 2 companies out of 6. There's no random chance in this game, so as long as we accurately predict what's happening, we know they're going to go down to their last 2 companies. Let's see if that prediction is correct. Taking out that unit. They've got 1 company left in the front. Yep, doing a lot of damage here. Fire another. Yep, they're actually dead from shooting on one side. I actually mispredicted that. You do 2 base damage plus 1 from shooting on the flank. Did it twice, so we did 6 damage. They had 6 companies, we killed them. So I actually mispredicted that, but that helped me. So just very simple math, and once you understand it, it's actually very rewarding to pull off that maneuver there, where you got the math correct and you wiped out a French regiment. Here, we'll just wipe these guys out. We've got 2 French guards left. It looks like the center is pretty much broken, and I'm going to get the Bavarians mobilized. I don't have enough movement to get in and charge. It's going to take me 2 tiles to get up, and you'll see here I try to charge, but then I realize I've already spent all my movement points. So we're going to just try to move up and get our guys across the shallow river maybe. Start shooting these French guys in the back, move up, shoot them on the side as well. So that should be a lot of damage onto those French guards. They're probably going to get shot in the back there. Okay, actually, we can see here, I'm going to pause. We ran into each other. So the French tried to move on the road, and my order went through to move on the road. Both units ended up running into each other. We both took damage. That's actually good for me, though, because I'm running into an enemy that, you know, their units were a lot more expensive, and they thrive in ranged combat. So if I run into them, I'm fine with trading. You know, I'll lose my Bavarians to kill some French guard, especially because they can't use their advanced perks, their better shooting methods, because we're in hand-to-hand combat. Now we've got them pinned down in melee combat. The French are trying to maneuver around. We're taking hits. And we've got everybody finally across the river. Our left flank is still convalescing. They're just, I mean, their cohesion's full, but they just lost so many troops. I'd rather use all the orders on these guys. And I'm going to try to do an encirclement now around the French center while their other French guards are engaged in melee. Now, you see I've got them on 3 sides. And I've got guards. If those guards fire, hit them in the back. I mean, that's just going to do an insane amount of damage. They're dead. I mean, if they don't move from this, even if they move, I mean, I don't know where they can go with only 1 tile of movement. I'm going to jump up. They're going to try shooting us. They're still going to do a lot of damage. They might even kill one of my guys because they can shoot twice. I don't think he actually shot twice, so that may have been a mistake on his part. He could have killed that unit. I am going to shoot him 3 times and wipe him out. Done. Okay, center is broken, and the last Bavarians are just mopping up. I've lost 1 unit of Bavarians so far. We're just mopping up now. These guys are... I want to refill their cohesion. They're going to take 1 point of attrition damage. They're going to be down to their last company. Opponent submitted their orders. They can't do anything. And we are going to run up. Probably pull our Bavarians out of that melee combat. And then end up engaging the French in ranged combat. Their cohesion's gone. They're down to their last few companies. They're not going to be very motivated.
Ja, General.
We're going to pull out. In the first shot, they should be dead. Right, and... gone. Yep. And there we have it. I've got 54% of my troops remaining. Cost about half of my men. Of course, I brought more men. I brought a higher point value army to the field here because they were defending. But it looks like we flanked them and took out the French Guard, and we achieved victory. So that's about it, guys. If you have questions about how that battle was fought and any questions about mechanics, let us know. Of course, there's so many placeholders. I know some things probably looked really confusing, especially the way damage is distributed. We're going to have plenty of like tooltips and pop-ups and a damage preview system where you can hover over it and it'll tell you how much damage you're doing, so you never need to memorize any of the math. Everything will be displayed to you. And of course, there's no percentages or any large numbers. All of the math in the game can be done with a single hand, if you want to count your fingers, okay? So, very simple to follow, easy rules, but it can be very advanced and unpredictable because your opponent's orders are going at the same time. So there's that kind of yin and yang between order, because you know you can predict the attacks, but there's some chaos because you don't know if those attacks are actually going to go through if the enemy ends up outmaneuvering you because of that simultaneous turn system. So it's kind of an interesting balance between those, the kind of yin and yang, chaos and order in the game. But again, if you guys have any questions, let us know, and we'll talk a bit about how that battle went.